In 2001, the Seattle Mariners won the most games in the modern era with 116. They were simply incredible, only to lose to the New York Yankees in 5 games in the ALCS and then said see ya, going on a postseason hiatus for over 20 years. Now, hearing that makes you assume that they were trash for 20 years, and I don't blame you for thinking that, but Seattle has actually had some really good teams with potential since 2001. Yes, there's been several bad teams, but overall, the Mariners have done seemingly all they could to try and get this team back to October, all to no avail. Jerry Dipoto, the team's general manager and someone who's been in the job since 2015, has a reputation for being very trade happy, making a ton of moves over the years. 2021, the 20-year anniversary of the 0-1 team, looked like it was the year where Seattle would finally have postseason baseball, with their chances being taken into the final day, only to lose while the Red Sox also won, being fully eliminated in heartbreaking fashion. If you thought that was truly the end for the M's, however, you are sorely mistaken. As far as how 2022 started out, it wasn't that great. In fact, the Mariners were 9 games under 500 in late June, finally getting back to the 500 mark on July 7th. After winning on July 7th, they'd keep winning for another week and a half, extending their win streak to 14 games and have yet to look back. They are in a comfortable lead in the wildcard standings, and with each passing day, it's looking more and more likely that the longest postseason drought in sports will soon be over. And it's such a cool thing for multiple reasons. To understand what makes this team so special, let's take a look at 2001. The 2001 Mariners were an absolute juggernaut. To start, the designated hitter, Edgar Martinez, was incredible. He hit to an OPS over 960 and drove in 116 runs, so basically a run for every win. Brett Boone was incredible, hitting to a 950 OPS, swatting 37 doubles, 37 home runs, and driving in 141 runs. Ichiro is Ichiro, John Olerud and Mike Cameron were awesome, and the offense as a whole was just deadly. The pitching, of course, was great, with a solid starting rotation and a lockdown bullpen, and looking back at this team and the numbers that these players put up, it's not that difficult to grasp why they were such a great team. As for the 2022 Seattle Mariners, it's a little different. The current day Seattle Mariners are not a juggernaut. They're not a team loaded with potential Hall of Famers ready to destroy your team night in, night out. And they're not going to win 116 games. It's just not how they're built. But that's okay, because they're where they are for a totally different reason. The biggest difference between the 2001 team and this year's is the offense. This season, the Mariners don't have any hitter with an OPS over 900. The highest OPS on the team is 833, which belongs to the rookie Julio Rodriguez. The next best is just over 800, courtesy of Eugenio Suarez. To sum it up, this isn't an offense that is going to outslug you. The key to success is good pitching and timely hitting. Every single starter in the Mariners rotation has a sub-4 ERA. The new big free agent signing Robbie Ray has been solid, and he didn't start out strong, but since June 12th, he's thrown 96 innings to the tune of a 2.53 ERA. Logan Gilbert has a 3.23 ERA in over 160 innings. Marco Gonzalez has been solid, so has Chris Flexen. George Kirby's been great, with newly acquired Luis Castillo pitching to a sub-3 ERA so far since leaving Cincinnati. And the bullpen is statistically one of, if not the greatest in baseball. But what is it exactly that makes this team so special? They find a way. The Mariners lead all of baseball in one-run wins in 2022. They also have 9 walk-off wins this year. Out of those 9 walk-offs, 8 ended with the Mariners winning by 1 run. Here's how they happened. It was the 12th inning in a game between the Mariners and Royals, and Jesse Winker would place a ball in front of the right fielder for a game-winning single. Walk-off number 1. The next month, the Mariners were taking on the Rays and had done absolutely nothing on offense the entire day. Emmanuel Margot homer would make it 1-0 Rays, and it would stay that way heading into the bottom of the 9th inning, and that's when the M's switched into gear. With 1 out in the 9th, Abraham Toro would connect for a game-tying homer, forcing the game to go to extras where Ty France would walk it off. Walk-off number 2. The month after that, in June, the Mariners took on the Red Sox. It was a pretty good back-and-forth battle going into the 9th, where the Red Sox would strike on a Bobby Dahlbeck home run, breaking the tie and taking a 1-run lead. The Mariners refused to quit. Down to their last strike, Abraham Toro tied the game on a bloop hit to center, followed by a single by Dylan Moore to win the game 7-6. Walk-off number 3. The Mariners went on to walk off 3 times in the month of July, starting with the Oakland A's on the 2nd. The offense had done nothing the entire game, while also being down 1-0 heading into the bottom of the 8th, and that's when they got hot. A Justin Upton home run would tie it in the 8th, with a bases-loaded single by Toro winning it in the 9th. Walk-off number 4. Toronto then came to town, and instead of a one-run walk-off win, the Mariners decided to be different for a night, winning it 5-2 in the 11th inning on a walk-off 3-run homer by Eugenio Suarez. Walk-off number 5. July 26 was a rarity for the 2022 Mariners, considering the bullpen gave up 4 runs from the 7th inning on, but the offense got the job done. The 8th inning featured a game-tying double by Adolis Garcia, followed by a go-ahead single in the top of the 9th by Ezekiel Duran, but 2 batters into the bottom half of the inning, the Mariners had tied the ball game, later winning it on a sacrifice fly. Walk-off number 6. August 9th was a marathon, to say the very least. A 13-inning battle between the Mariners and Yankees, only for 1 run to score the entire game, coming in the bottom of the 13th on a bases-loaded single by Luis Torrens. Walk-off number 7. Later in the month of August, Cleveland came to town, and by the 8th inning on August 26th, the game was knotted up at 2 courtesy of 4 sacrifice flies. Seriously. A sacrifice fly in the 3rd made it 1-0 Guardians, a sacrifice fly in the 5th tied it at 1, a sacrifice fly in the 6th gave the Guardians back the lead, only for the Mariners to hit another sacrifice fly of their own to tie it again. The score would stay that way until the bottom of the 11th inning, when Mitch Haniger would drive in Dylan Moore for the win. Walk-off number 8. And as for walk-off number 9, this is definitely one of, if not the best endings to a game of the season by any team. The Mariners took a 6-2 lead into the top of the 9th inning against the Atlanta Braves. They're 3 outs away, up 4 with one of the best bullpens in baseball. Game over, right? With 2 outs and the Braves still down by 4, Michael Harris Jr. would connect for a 3-run bomb to make it a 1-run game. Ouch, that's not what you want, but just one more out to get. Well, an Eddie Rosario single would follow with a Robbie Grossman 2-run bomb of his own, giving the Braves the lead, with Atlanta scoring 5 runs in the top of the 9th, all with 2 outs, sucking the hype out of the ballpark until the bottom of the 9th. With 1 out, Julio Rodriguez would step up to the plate and send the 3rd pitch he saw 117 miles an hour over the left field wall to tie the game. 2 batters later, Eugenio Suarez would barrel a ball up of his own, walking it off and sending Mariners fans into a frenzy. I feel that ever since the Mariners went on that 14-game win streak, I don't want to say they've been a lock for the postseason, but it just seems different than most years. Last year was sort of like a preview of what was to come. As for this year, it's happening. It's actually happening. The 2022 Mariners are in a wagon. They're not filled with superstar talent that will blow your socks off with future Hall of Famers. That's just not who they are, and that's okay. They're a scrappy team that pitches well and keeps their offense in ball games, plays solid defense, and hits when they need to. On paper, they're far from the best team in the American League, let alone in all of baseball. But I'd argue, despite that being the case, they have seemingly the most magic out of any team. Magic that can be dangerous come October. However the Mariners end their season is yet to be decided, but one thing is for sure, which is that the Mariners have had a fun ride in 2022, and I get a feeling the drought may soon be over.